Hi Liam, can we just start with injury news? Obviously Kenny came off last night. How's he looking?
Yeah, not too bad today. It's just been something that's been irritating him for a little while. That we kind of settle it down and then it flares up. And he's obviously such an important part of the team and what we need. And he's been pushing through it, to be fair. So he came in this morning, was remarkably positive.
So you're confident he's going to be fit for Sunday?
Yeah, I don't want to commit to definites, but hopefully. I think he felt a lot better in himself and had some treatment and done some recovery. So yeah, positive signs, but yeah, we have to see. Sometimes it's not necessarily today; it's the next day. So we'll see how he looks.
Brilliant. In terms of everyone else come through unscathed?
Yeah.
Brilliant, thank you. Just reflecting on that last night, you've had a bit of time to think about it now. What are your emotions now?
Yeah, I think it's probably quite similar to after the game. I think we're quite clear we need to win some games. I think that we're under no illusion. That's the business we're in. We're in the results business. I think it's in my job to understand how do we do that for a sustained period of time. And I think not everybody's going on here about the performance, but I thought there was for me, if you play that game numerous times, you win it. Just in they had one shot on goal and we've created numerous really good opportunities. So I think it's a tough one. I think it's probably the best we've performed and we come away with nothing. I think when the 3 previous games of Coventry we get a point, but backs to the wall defending for the whole game. Wrexham obviously speaks for itself, and then Stoke at the weekend, another one, tough place to go, we get a point, but we're defending and got 40% of the ball. Whereas last night I thought we looked more like a team. I thought last night with the ball, I thought we had people step up and take responsibility. There was a lot more encouraging, positive signs of what we're looking for, but as we spoke about today, you don't have to get the bit at the end of it. I think that's the bit at the minute we're learning lots about us as a group and how we want to play and how we want to do things, but ultimately we've got to learn how to win.
Does it feel like things are going against you at the moment? Because as you said, Griffiths pulls off 3 or 4 brilliant saves, doesn't he? And on another night they go in.
Yeah, and again, I think that's why I said it last night about that resilience, the togetherness, the toughness that we have to tighten up. And I think you do that in tough situations. It brings you together. And of course, nobody wants to be in this position. I think we're quite clear on that. But I think we're also realistic where we're at. And again, I think it's one of those when you look at it. Yeah, the final whistle goes. Their whole team's running over to celebrate with him. Speaks volumes about who had the biggest impact. Even Ryan, to be fair, after the game was hugely complimentary about the group, and and unfortunately, that's Championship football. The margins are so fine. I think it's what I'm confident on is if we repeat performances like we did last night, we'll win more matches than we lose.
I'm sure you'd have heard the boos at the final whistle. Obviously, it's been a really challenging start at home this season. Do you feel under pressure?
Got asked this last night. I think with the year I've had, I understand where this sits in my life. It doesn't mean I don't give everything for the club or care or, I'm desperate to do well. I've said it numerous times. I think my work ethic around the place, how I treat people shows that. But I have had the toughest year of my life. So the fact that I went home and my wife still loved me, my son still loved me, I think I'm able to put things in perspective. So doesn't mean I don't care any less. I'm in here first thing at 7 o'clock this morning to watch the game back and to analyse it and to get everything ready for the day and build up for the weekend. But yeah, pressure is what it is. It's not something I can control. All I can do is my very best and turn up and give absolutely everything for the club every day.
And in terms of that message to the fans, because they're obviously as frustrated as you are that you haven't got the results you need. What is your message to them? Is it stick with us?
It has to be that. I think, and of course, I think one of those. I get, the boos are probably more for the result than the performance I'd hoped last night. I thought the lads really stepped up to try and take responsibility, to try and like I said, for large periods, it's the most dominant we've been for such sustained periods. So that's a new experience for us as a group, which the lads should take confidence from. And like I said, fans rightly so want to see that as well as win. And and obviously we haven't done that yet, so I get it. The only thing that will change that is by, like I said, us putting in performances. And for me, what a fantastic opportunity, at the weekend.
On the flip side, you're unbeaten away from home, so it's a complete contrast in fortunes. Is it almost nice to be away from home at the moment?
No, because I want to win at home. I think that it's one of those. I think what will really help us as a group is this week in terms of. Naturally, at the start of the Championship season, it always tends to feel a bit slow. So, you have a bad performance or a bad loss, and then you go the following Saturday and you do it again. Then I think when you get into it, and what we need as a group is more experiences playing games together. And that's when you do get into the thick of the Saturdays. I genuinely believe in, when you see elements of last night's performance to where we were at, I think that those games will definitely help us. So again, I think home or away, we have to keep building on the experiences. We have to keep improving. We have to keep being, tough and honest with ourselves, and we have to ultimately start winning games as well.
No better place to do it than Portman Road, is there? What would that mean to you to win there?
Everything. Desperate to. I think in terms of, that's where to a certain extent results and form go out the window a little bit, right? And it becomes a little bit of obviously a unique game. We've had some chats with the lads and, done numerous bits. I think especially with so many new players and, a large number of foreign players, we have to, educate them and, make them understand the importance of the game. So we've done that. But then, come the weekend, I think it's then understanding how do we get success. And that, of course, we have to show emotion, we have to show passion, but it has to also have an element of control to it. We don't want to be reckless. So I think it's one of those we've done, like I said, some of the educational pieces now around, gearing up to be prepared to, to go there to do us and to get, to give the fans something to get behind.
It's interesting you say it, because you said a similar thing last night, that it's almost a good game, isn't it? Because it's like a cup final, isn't it? It's a derby game. Is that how you feel, that this is the best possible opposition you could face in a way?
I think so, yeah. I think so. In how you look at them, where they've been, the money they've spent, etc. There'll be pressure at that end. So again, I think it's one of those where for me, we should relish it. We should look forward to it. We should be ready to step up and give absolutely everything. And that's when as disappointed as I was last night, I couldn't question the lads' attitude from that perspective. I thought they gave everything with and without the ball and just lacked quality in the final bit. And plus their keeper having an incredible evening. So that's the same message for the weekend. Give absolutely everything that you can.
Yeah, and Liam, you've grown up in this area, so you know it. The importance of this game better than anyone. How much does this derby mean to you?
A lot. Desperate to win. I think. Even more so where we're at, right? I think with the frustration around the place and the energy, I think it's huge, to go down there and to perform and to win.
And how tough do you think it's going to be down there? Because as you quite rightly said, they spent a lot of money, haven't they, on their squad? They've got the parachute payments, they've got the recent history of being in the Premier League. How tough do you think this is going to be?
Yeah, every game at this level, you see the margins are so fine. You can be a dominant team and lose, the same as the opposite of that you can be hanging on and still get something from games. So it's one of those, when you look at their recent history and being in the Premier League, what they've spent, there'll be pressure on them, right? I think in terms of what they're trying to do and achieve. So ultimately it comes down to us. It comes down to us understanding, the importance of the game, for the fans, for where we're at, for what we're trying to do, for where we want to get to. So it's an understanding, what do we need to do to give everything to try and win the game.
And how about Kieran? Is he someone you've come across before in your managerial career? And what have you made of what he's achieved so far? Because the back-to-back promotions were incredible. Yeah,
he's someone that I haven't spoken to in a little while, but we spoke numerous times, I think, throughout the years. I was at MK when he first went in there, coached against him when they were in League One. So, numerous things. I think the achievements, but also, how long he's been there to do that. And yeah, he's a terrific coach that's achieved, some fantastic things, and he's it's underpinned by being a decent bloke as well, which I think is equally important.
Yeah, I've got to ask you about Marcelino Nunez. I know you were asked a lot about this in the summer, but is he someone who's come up in conversation in the dressing room this week?
I've not been in the changing room, so I can't answer that.
But in terms of the players, obviously would have been upset that he left. Are you going to use that as fuel really to get the players even more fired up?
For me, I won't have to and shouldn't have to fire the players up. I think with, like I said after the game last night, with we have to use everything where we're at the minute to fuel the change, because only the only thing that will change that is us. So again, I think that forgetting Nunez is more about us. It's more about us, backing up a performance with a result of the weekend, another strong performance, and showing the right level of passion and emotion and fire and aggression, but also quality and composure as well. I think in those moments as well that you have to remain calm and stay focused, equally as well.
Yeah, it's 16 years since Ipswich last beat Norwich. It's incredible, right? Is that something you are conscious of? And secondly, how important is it to maintain that, or are you taking this game in isolation?
Of course, I want to extend it. It's fairly obvious, right? I think, of course, I want to extend it. I think it's how do I do that? And that's by preparing the lads. I think that's why we're in today, to do recovery, to get ready and give them the right content, the right setup, the right plan, and then getting the lads in the right headspace to then go and solve the problem and play what's in front of them. Ultimately we can do all the work, all the prep, but the second the whistle starts, and that's what pleased me with the lads last night. They grabbed it. They didn't wait for anything to happen. Even going a goal behind, Wrexham, we capitulated, whereas last night we kind of stayed calm, stood up to it, and carried on doing us. And I think them things are really important.
Yeah, absolutely. From the outside, I guess most people would think Ipswich are the favourites for the position that we outlined earlier. Can you use that to your advantage as well? That actually maybe people won't be expecting much from you.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, I think so. I think it's where we have to internalise a lot for me. I think and. When you look at it, it's about how do we hit the level we're capable of, irrespective of the noise, people externally. Do we step on the pitch and give the best account of ourselves and hit our best level? And that for me is the most important thing. So lads will be driven and fueled in different ways, and obviously my job's to find the right buttons to push. Normally, like I keep saying, we'll be ready, we'll be prepared, and we'll be desperate to get going.
And the final question, Liam. I mean, 2,000 fans, they'll be heading down there into the Lions' Den. What is your message to them before this game? A lot of them are obviously feeling quite down about the situation at the moment. Can this be a springboard to really kick on, do you think?
Yeah, I'd have to say the fans on the road haven't felt down. I think they've been brilliant. I think they've been outstanding. And again, some of that will be the elements of performances, elements of results. So I get the home frustration, but on the road it's felt slightly different. I think in terms of the energy's been really positive. So again, I think it's that we all have the same goal. I think that's the piece for me. We're all me, the lads, everybody associated with the clubs, desperate to do well, and let's have a right go collectively at the weekend.
Great, thanks, Liam.
Thank you,
Liam. Good to speak to you as always. If I can go back to sort of fitness, obviously. Lucian played a few minutes, he praised him last night. How has he reacted to that, and do you think he could start on Sunday?
I knew that was coming. We have to see. I think it's still really early in terms of obviously exposure to game minutes, but really pleased for him. I think I had a good chat with him. He trained this morning, did bits this morning. I think when you look at the journey he's had, how long he's been out, I think it sometimes reignites a little bit of a hunger and a reminder of how much you love football, and you miss it when it's taken away from you. So delighted for him and the medical staff how hard he's worked to get back. I thought he looked really good, looks very good physically. He's trained really well. He was blowing after 15 minutes, so again I think we have to take that into account to see obviously for the weekend. But yeah, having him back's a huge bonus for us. With regards to starting, we'll have to see.
Yeah, and if I can just ask you about a couple of others who probably should be coming back relatively soon, Matthias and Ben Kraseni, is it going as you expected? Are they still?
Both are going well, yeah. Both are going well. The national break's coming at a fairly good time, so I think that's the big bit. I think when you look at it in the next sort of 2 to 4 weeks, hopefully we'll have another. I'm hoping another 3 bodies back, which will be big for the group. We've had too many missing, so again I think having, like you said, Lucian back, having Jeff back, like I said, another 3, maybe 4 in the next 3-4 weeks. Hopefully we'll give everybody a boost as well.
What's the situation with Elliot Miles as it stands?
Yeah, he's progressing well. To be fair, he's ramping up his return, so he's definitely heading in the right direction.
I know you don't love timelines, but do you have any idea sort of how far away he is from team training, or is he already back?
Yeah, we have to see. Not a million miles away, but he's not with us at the minute.
And obviously it's quite a quick turnaround from the West Brom game, so how much do you have to factor that into your team selection as well?
Yeah, I think so. I think freshness becomes important. But again, I think we're very fortunate to have such a fantastic facility here that hence we're in today, and different groups working, a training group, a conditioning group, a recovery group. We're able to do that as a proper session here. So it's a big bonus. And then come the weekend, I think it'd be one of those, I think, finding that right balance of freshness, but also continuity is important.
And I suppose with that team selection, there's also the element of the magnitude of the game going away in a derby. Is that something you also have to consider with players who've maybe been in that sort of environment before and things like that?
A huge number of factors, that being one. Yeah. Fitness, freshness, tactically, form, leadership, understanding the game and who can bring people together, who can manage it, who's experienced things like that before. There's a whole number of things that go into picking a team.
And what's the atmosphere been like behind the scenes sort of going into it? Is there a lot of excitement about this one?
Yeah, do you know what I think? I don't want to keep banging on about the performance because we ultimately lost the game, but I think the lads took a bit of confidence from last night, and rightly so. I think in our identity and what we want to look like and how we want to play, and again, I think, of course, whenever you lose a game, however you lose it, whether you play well, play poorly, I think you're always going to hurt, you're always going to be frustrated, you're always going to be angry, disappointed. But I think if it was the right step for me in the direction that we want to be as a team, and like I said, I felt the lads felt that as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I was going to kind of ask you whether you can really replicate that against Ipswich, because obviously you've kind of covered the amount of money they've spent, the team that they look like. Do you feel like you can be as proactive and kind of attacking as you were at times against West Brom going away to Ipswich?
West Brom are a strong side, right, as well. I think it's one of those, the margins are so fine at this level that we have to go there and be brave and do us. And I think, of course, being away from home is slightly different, and there'll be little bits that you might do differently, or that accept the noise. You might have to at times soak up a little bit of pressure, but again, I think we've shown that we can suffer. I think that's a real strength for the group, that the people are willing to dig in and give everything. But at the same point, we have to go there and be brave and take the game to them as well.
Yeah, Andy mentioned you've obviously got local connections. It's probably also hard to ignore that you did work at Ipswich for a bit. So have you had many messages of people, sort of ex-colleagues or anything? No. You don't have people kind of wishing you, I don't want to say wishing you badly, but from that time?
No. My phone's quite quiet at the minute, to be fair, funnily enough.
Yeah, and sort of on Nunez, I know you kind of covered him a little bit, but as a player, obviously you know his strengths pretty well, having worked with him for a few weeks. Just as a player, how wary of him do you have to be? If
he plays, right? I think that if he plays, I think it's one of those. We'll do our work on the whole group. They're more than one player. I think when you look at the depth, the quality they've got, they've got some strong players. I think we have to do our work on everybody and not just create a plan for him. So we'll do the work like we normally do, but like I said, I think it's more understanding the game and the importance of it and the magnitude. They're slightly different, but the preparation in terms of tactically will be the same.
And in terms of that pressure of kind of that 16-year unbeaten streak, does it feel at all like a burden to you, given that's a lot to lose, really?
Yeah, I said a minute ago, do I want to continue it? Of course I do, but the only way I can control by continuing it is by getting the lads ready for Sunday. I can invest time and energy and take my head there, but it's not going to affect anything. I think where my energy has to go is making sure that the lads are quite clear what we need to do to get success and to continue it. I think the result will be an outcome of good preparation, good planning, good team selection, and ultimately the lads turning up and delivering and relishing that.
Yeah, I know you'll be thinking a lot about the team and the result rather than just yourself, but given it's quite early in your tenure, you're still kind of forming a relationship with fans and things. Does it feel like, as much as it's a good opportunity for the team, for you personally to get a win or a good result on the board against Ipswich would be a good way to sort of build that bond?
It would definitely help where we're at the minute, right? I think I'm quite clear on that, and results haven't been acceptable at home. Quite clear on that. I'm quite honest about it, quite open about it. I'm not stupid. I think, of course, going there and beating your rivals is always going to help. So, I'll keep doing everything that I can to keep pushing the team forward and investing everything I can in the lads. And
I suppose that kind of underlines the opportunity there is on the flip side of the pressure to go and get a good result there. Definitely
that, and that's what I said about the games being a bit quicker and having more often. I think we're craving that as a group a little bit in terms of. You have a disappointing one. How do you then respond and move forward? And like I said last night, an okay performance, good performance, poor result. Now we have to take all the experience from the games we've had so far into the weekend, and just go and be the best versions of us.
Yeah, I just wanted to sort of touch on a few individuals as well. One of them's Oscar Schwartau, who I think has probably been pretty good probably one of your best players over the last couple of games. Obviously was struggling to get in the matchday squads at the start of the season, so to see that progress must be really encouraging.
Definitely, and that's where again part of my job, right, is to be realistic with the group we've got and where we're at. And I think the one thing naturally with slightly younger players is that they'll be inconsistent, and again I think that's where our job as a staff is to support them, to challenge them, to push them, to coach and educate them. And again I think he's one that's responded really well. He was obviously left out against Blackburn away, and it's not you're out on your own, Oscar. It's look, we'll support you, we'll help you, I'll sit with you, I'll talk with you, I'll explain why, and then the challenge is now can you step up and deliver. And that's how for me you develop a competitive group. And that in the opening few games was probably quite a challenge in terms of new players trying to find consistency trying to show people that one bad game you're not going to get slung out and kill someone's confidence and try and build a bit of rhythm, but then also with form and performances, results. There's also a level where there has to be accountability for the level you hit, and I thought he came on, did really, really well against Wrexham at home. I thought he had really good impact, showed positive energy, was solid. I thought at Stoke, and you know what you're going to get with Oscar. I think he's so honest, he's so hard working. What I liked about him last night was in some of the duels he was quite positive, especially first half. To get down and get their right back and cause some really dangerous moments. Yeah,
I was going to kind of ask you about that because he always gives you the running, but do you feel like over the last couple of games he's started to show some of the technical quality that he's got as well?
Yeah, that was the chat we had around, ultimately impacting the attacking areas. I think it's one of those where, of course, all the lads have to have a level of honesty and hard work in terms of out of possession, but any attacking player is going to get in the team because of the qualities they bring in, in the top third of the pitch, and that's why I was really, really pleased for him. I thought last night, especially with some of the duels, and like I said, Emmy's chance that keeper makes an excellent save off from him, getting down the side, wins a free kick. There's a couple of moments where I thought he caused them real problems, and like I said, he's such a terrific character. I'm really pleased for him.
And it was another good performance off the bench from Matej Jurasek, who a lot of people will have been looking at the starting lineup and wondering why he wasn't in it. So what is it you want to see from him to be in that lineup?
I think the challenge for Matej is what you just said about Oscar. And that's the challenge now. Matej has had to up his game because Oscar's stepped in and performed, and it's one of those. Matej came on, had terrific impact last night. I think he's continually improving and getting better. And again, that's probably a little bit where we're at with a few of the lads. They need time, they need support, they need pushing and challenging, and they'll only grow and get better. And again, he's someone that I think if you look at him from, I remember seeing him here in Northampton the first pre-season game to where he's at now, how he looks physically, mentally, his intensity that he works at is completely different. He looks like a new player, so he'll continue to grow and get better. I thought he had really, really good impact last night.
Yeah, and just finally I wanted to ask about Pelle Mattsson, because it feels like, particularly in the last few games, he's really put some good performances together. So given he had to adapt very quickly from coming from Denmark, you must be pleased by the fact that he's hit the ground running.
Yeah, delighted we got him. It was no secret how keen we were to get him in, and I think he's just exciting to watch, right? I think he's all action. He's with the ball, without the ball, energy, aggression, quality. Just a real positive character to have around the place as well. I think he's settled in really well, had really good impact in games, and I thought a few last night, him included. I thought there was a few that did step out. I thought Stace did well. I thought Ante was better than he has been as well. So I thought there was elements that were heading in the right direction.
Do you think Pelle gives you a bit of a link from midfield to attack sometimes that I think maybe it's fair to say you were lacking a little bit earlier in the season?
Yeah, Pelle helps it, but I also think time and understanding how we play is definitely an element of that. So Pelle, like I said, his qualities, I thought, a few of the diagonals he hits last night, he'll do that, he'll take that risk, and like I said, the more the lads play together, the better they'll get. Simple as that for me.
Cheers.
Thank you.